and that thing comes around sideways and hits a culvert in a driveway and just starts flipping end over end. And I'm talking like Vin Diesel at the end of the first Fast and Furious. Like, it was savage. We worked in Greencastle. We worked at a place called Chiyoda, or actually it's Happy Co. back then. We worked for the Japanese. We painted Subaru parts and Honda and Toyota and some Ford parts, strangely enough. But every night we would get off work at about 1 a.m. And it was, I think we clocked ourselves as about 25 minutes from that parking lot on the far side of Greencastle out by the industrial area to Brazil. And we would take the back way. We wouldn't go out and take the highway. We would take Manhattan Road because it snaked through. And if we could get out before everybody else that got off work in the factories could get out, we'd be the first ones. And it would literally be our Fast and Furious all the way down that road and then all the way down US 40, all the way to Brazil. And it would be a street race all the way back. And anyone that had any kind of car that would grip the road, I mean, even guys in pickup trucks, we would race every night. And it was just savage. And I mean, we were in our early 20s. We were idiots. I mean, we've all grown up since then, I hope, because there are other people out there that need to survive. But we did not have any regard for the law back then. It was every man for himself. And I wish we had dash cams back then. I wish we had half the technology. But then again, I'm glad we didn't, because that's evidence. Well, one night we got off work and I'm driving my 72 Coupe de Ville. He's driving this 99 WS6 6-speed, 27,000 miles, gorgeous Trans Am. Chrome wheels, tinted windows, just a pretty car. And he would come out of the parking lot smoking tires for the girls every night, just to let them know he had that LS1 in there. We get out on US 40, and he had a mailbox that he always thought was a quarter mile. And he would just punch it to that mailbox and just count off time. And I don't know, it made him feel taller or something. Whatever. It was fun for me to watch because I was always in the caddy with the 472, just creeping behind him, just watching, you know. And one night he does it, and I see those notorious honeycomb Crown Vic headlights coming down the hill. And I'm on the phone immediately like, hey, man, hit a back road. You're going to get stopped. They're going to have a roadblock at the county line or something. You need to just slow down or do something different. He's like, oh, that's all right. Well, we get back to Brazil, and there's 4 Clay County deputies got him pulled over. He was doing speed limit. He got out of it, but they had questions, you know, and I'm sure he had the right answers to get out of it, but whatever. So we get out of work one night, and I'm driving my 300ZX. He's driving this Trans Am. It's me, a guy in an orange Dodge Ram, and then Jess in his Trans Am. It's a race car. And we're coming up this hill, and it's like an off-camber corner that goes back by these horse stables and goes down. And he passes the Ram, or the Dakota, and he passes me, and my dash is digital. It says 96 as I'm going into this corner. And he comes around me. He had to be doing 120 with them halfway bald back tires that he's burned off, those Goodyear GSCs or whatever it had on at the time. And that thing comes around sideways and hits a culvert in a driveway and just starts flipping end over end. And I'm talking like Vin Diesel at the end of the first Fast and Furious. Like, it was savage. Like, this Trans Am hit 5 mailboxes, took out a telephone pole, and then lands back on its wheels with no fenders, no rear bumper, no windows at all, and like just barely anything left of it. I go sliding past him on the brakes. I leave skid marks that are just ridiculous. And I jump out and run over and check on him, because when the back window flew out and went airborne, it was tinted. It came out in one piece. I thought that was him, because I never wore my seatbelt ever. He always wore his. But I thought he came out because I never wore mine. I didn't expect anybody else to. I guess that's an Indiana thing. We just don't care about seatbelts most of the time. I would say it came around and flipped end over end like this because it ripped the T-top out, and he had dirt in his hair and dirt wedged in the headliner. And then it flipped probably 3 or 4 more times. It hit the pole backwards and upside down in the air, and then somehow landed back facing the way it was going in the ditch. And he didn't move it. That car wasn't going anywhere. The front tires were blown. The fenders were both gone. The bumper went somewhere over this way. The window went way out that way. The passenger side door skin went across the road and into a yard way over there. It was wild. I mean, I had glass and dirt flying in my car because I had the T-tops out and the windows down. There's glass and dirt hit me in the face as I was sliding by on the brakes. I run over there, and he's climbing out of the car, crying about how he needs to call his mom because the insurance is in her name so he can say that he tried to miss a deer and lost control. And so he cuts his hand, like right here, climbing out of the window, and that's the only damage on his body he had from this car rolling end over end. Like, it obliterated this car. The only thing left of it was the leather seats and the engine that was worthwhile. Like, it completely destroyed this car. You know, the law shows up, as they should. And they're asking about the skid marks, and I'm just like, heck yeah, man, those are mine. Well, you know what? Driving too fast for conditions, and I get a ticket for that. He gets a ticket for reckless driving. But the funniest part of this was one of the officers that shows up, and I don't know his name. I don't even remember what he looks like, but he's like, hey, I remember this car. And I'm like, you do, huh? And I'm irritated already, you know, because I've been standing here for an hour and a half dealing with traffic driving by. Everybody we work with is driven by and seen this happen. And so this officer says, or this deputy, to be correct, he's like, I know this car. It passed me on 40 the other day doing 150 mile an hour. And it was that guy that went by and didn't tap his brake lights when he was hauling ass towards Brazil, and when he got pulled over by those 4 guys. And it just come full circle, and that was that same guy that just drove by and didn't do anything about it because he knew there wasn't any chance he was going to catch that car in that Crown Vic. He ends up going to court and telling the judge that their measurements were incorrect because he had started the car up and moved it off the road. So where they measured to from where he lost control was wrong, and he was only doing 60 mile an hour, and he got out of it. So he got a brand new car out of it. His insurance covered it, and he got his ticket dropped. I had to buy new tires, and I got the ticket.
We'd like to thank this month's sponsor of the VINwiki YouTube channel, Minta Watches. We know the world of great cars and great watches tends to overlap a lot, and Minta specializes in remarkable timepieces, both vintage and modern, because they know that great watches also have great stories. So if you're looking for some entertaining and educational watch content, be sure to check out Adam's YouTube channel. And if you're in the market for a watch or you just want to learn more about watches, be sure to reach them at the link in the description below. They'll take great care of you.